nothing. So this is how you get a sustained sound, right? So the same thing, like if I take a stick and I hit a right cymbal, it's not okay. So when you play a brush, unfortunately you play something that's kind of dead, so you have to find another way to get that sound. So how a lot, some guys do it like this, some guys do it like this. And the truth is, everybody does it different. Like Steve Gadd does it like this. And it doesn't matter as long as you can get the sound you want. So again, whenever I think about trying to learn something, I try and break it down into very manageable parts first. So the first thing I think about is that, all right, I need to be able to play this thing and make it smooth and still be able to get this accent, right? It's very different from, and okay, so I'll put, let's say I put this like, so let's say I put the metronome on 60. Okay, so I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 4. Anti-clockwise, same thing, okay? And then, so then I have to put it together, right? So this is the basic pattern, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing you gotta realize when you play drums is when you're moving your brush in a circle, right? It's very easy to do it in a like kind of and it's gonna sound like that. So you have to remember that you're gonna move your left hand in time. Every time you move, you're pushing air, you're creating a feeling. And the way you create a feeling is if the brush moves, every time the brush moves across the head, at every point of the head where it's at, it creates a different sound. So you want the exact same sound to be coming out at the exact same time at every point of the bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you put like this hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now, because we've already done, assuming that you've done this circle already, you have the motion to make more patterns. So again, like the thing I would say about brushes is try and get the fundamental motions down, and then after that you can try and like figure out your own way to do it. A lot of guys do things different ways. In fact, when you look at like brush players, nobody does things the exact same way. So, but one thing I do is, because I have this circular motion going already, I can play 1, 2, 3. I don't really know what I'm doing, but because I've already worked on those motions, then I just kind of know how to get the sound to come out. Another thing you've got to think about with brushes is that you're not playing with a stick, which means that it's harder to get all your strokes to come out. Which means that you also have to spend a lot of time playing your rudiments with brushes just to be comfortable. And it's something I recommend doing anyway because it's a really good way to train your hands to be able to play with sticks on any surface. You guys all know like your 5-stroke rolls, 7-stroke rolls, all that stuff. Okay, so when you play drums, when you play brushes, you have this motion and you have this motion, right? You have this and this, and each thing you do is going to give you a different sound. Huh? Okay, well I need to move it back actually.
Oh, whoops.
No, it's fine. Okay, so one thing a teacher taught me, which was really useful, is to combine the two. So it means at the end of every roll, right, you drag the note. So for example, a 5-stroke roll will be 7-stroke. And then the other thing you gotta think about when you're playing brushes is you need to get a pick. You don't want this, or if you want it, you want to be able to control the sound. We talked about articulation just now. So if you want the drum to speak a certain way, you have to hit it a certain way. So I practice all my rudimental things with using the front 1/3 of the brush, and I do that because it trains me to get a good like snap, And then the other thing I do is if I want to play an accent, this is gonna sound very different. And this sounds like that because I hit it with the rubber and the brush at the same time. So the rolls very quickly will be and this like lateral motion stuff becomes very useful, especially if you want to play bossa novas. And I know one of the questions was bossa novas, right, or something like how to
moderate fast and moderate slow.
Okay, well, the big answer to the question is you have to listen to bossa nova music, and then that will answer itself. But what one thing that I like to do is I can use lateral motions to get the same kind of thing. And if you check it out, so it's like and then, like all the other brush stuff just comes from having your rudiments together. So I know it's like a lot of stuff, but I guess what I've shown you is the building blocks of how you can do something like that. If you do this, and you practice your rudiments and your lateral motions, and then after that you just like you buy a DVD that has guys playing brushes on it, and you see what exactly they do. So if I'm playing a ballad like when sun gets blue,